because you got to look at anti-Semitism. Jews are targeted. Hate crime, Hamas, ISIS, people supporting ISIS right here in Dearborn. You know, they supporting Hamas right here in Dearborn. So she could have easily been a target. In my personal opinion, there's some things that I wish she would learn and the ladies learn. If you're going to be out late night on a Friday night, have some company with you. Have somebody at your home you can trust. Have somebody you're traveling with, because you are a target. And people can follow you, they can monitor you. And then, you know, she was the kind hearted person, it seems. She left her door open with a sign like, you know, like leave the keys here, like, you know, whatever. There was a sign by her when you walk in her home that clearly made it like if there was an intruder, she, you know, like she wasn't even really bothered by it. Like, and you know, she had an alarm and it was some issues with that. It's just, listen, if you're Jewish specifically, stick with the Jewish area and other areas around, you know, especially if you're in Metro Detroit, because it is a serious threat level now. It's been a lot of anti-Semitic attacks. Where she was, I think she could have been better protected. She could have been in a better place. And there's no excuse for her being harmed, you know, her life being taken at all. But I just feel we have to do better to protect the Jewish community in all communities. When you know a certain community is targeted, I would like to see them better protected. That's just, you know, my preference. Um, but in this case, no one thought he was the criminal that can murder. But things can go real quick when you're trying to hit a lick. You can go in thinking you just gonna rob the people and then you end up killing somebody. I just seen a story just recently about a jewelry store owner. His whole family and him all got executed. Guys didn't even go. They didn't even plan to go in and kill anybody, but that's just how it turned out. So in this case, I just think it's a situation where he could have went in and, you know, and this is just my opinion, you know, she fought, she started, whatever happened, and, you know, she was killed, which still makes me wonder, from what they were telling me about the crime scene, how bloody it was a definitely crime of passion. Then maybe this just wasn't just maybe this is still a hate crime. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, there's more to this story. I believe there's more to this story. Just gonna give you my full opinion on it. But far as this guy Michael Jackson, Bellagio, I just think that um, this guy just, man, he's the type of people you don't really want out here. He's the type of person that it's not just petty crime with him, man. He's an experienced. Uh, I don't like to use the term con artist because that's used too often, but he's just, you got to understand, there's people out here, they commit crime and they know how to do it so well. That's just how they cut. It's just in them. You know what I'm saying? And those type of people aren't typically rehabilitated. You know what I'm saying? Like, those type of people end up escalating crime. And they end up doing something else like this. Like, oh, all of a sudden they go to steal something and then they end up, you know, committing a murder. You know what I'm saying? But touching a body, that was a no-no. You should have called the police. You should have said something. It's better for you to come clean. For all you so-called criminals out there, just so you know, even if you did do something wrong, it's always better to come out and just tell the truth up front, because you don't want to get caught in lies down the road. And that's what happened with him. You know, in my opinion, he would have just, if he didn't do nothing wrong, and this is another thing I live by, if you are not a criminal and you didn't do nothing wrong, you could take all the risks you can take. You could do with it. If you ain't doing nothing wrong, you have no reason not to call the police. You have no reason not to do certain things. Like, it's just you don't. So in this case, he lost all credibility once they found blood. It's no reason for her blood to be on his jacket or to be anything. It's no reason for this individual to have admitted to touching her. It wasn't about a pulse, bro. That's not it. You see somebody stabbed up like that, you might can save their life. You were supposed to call the police, call the ambulance, let somebody know. Even if it was a friend, hey man, I found this girl and no, he didn't say nothing to nobody like that. So I think that's suspect. And I think he's these type of criminals that steal, they're crafty heistman thieves type guys. They know how to do things a certain way. So I don't I'm not surprised by his maneuvers, his tactics, his manipulation. I'm not surprised by none of this stuff. I'm surprised the prosecutors went for it so quickly. I'm surprised they didn't, in my opinion, do enough of a thorough investigation. They didn't prosecute it. However, I am thankful to the judge because she found a loophole to still stick it to him, and he deserved it in this case. It's not hate. They say in a black man's situation, he got a very good defense, and for the most part, the public was on his side, from what I've heard. Not against Samantha Woll because she's Jewish. I just think in this case, he looks very innocent. He's very convincing, and I understand that. Like I wouldn't want to be committed or charged of a crime or made to look guilty. And I've been in situations like that where I had a cop recently. I'm not gonna say he's not a black or white cop. He's a certain cop. We're gonna go in because it's a separate video. But I had a cop try to pin something on me. He threatened me. He said and did all type of unethical tactics. He signed a flashlight in my face, like the high beam light, just to try to create some type of controversy, contradictions, to say something so that they could charge me. Thank thank be to God I wasn't, not afraid to win out of Southfield. Thank you guys. But still, I've been in situations where people try to put stuff on you or they coerce you. And look, if you ain't do it, you just didn't do it. And the evidence is going to show that. But there are situations where you could look guilty and you're not. I think this goes beyond that for this guy. I think this Michael Jackson guy touched her. I think he did more than touch her. I think that part was more so not provable because for several factors. But I'm happy to know this dude off the street. Crafty on the guidelines. And look, I'm not a fan of mandatory minimums. I'm not for it. I'm for liberty. I'm for courts being fair and just, and even him being able to. I think if he was a different type of person too, he would have been treated differently. I mean, he's a career criminal, like career slime ball criminal. And then I heard there was some things allegedly about him and sexual charges in prison or, at some other point in his life. Don't know about that. Don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying there's much more to the story. I'm all for rehabilitation, I'm all for restorative justice. I'm for justice for Samantha Woll. In this case, I wish the prosecutors would have been able to paint a better picture. I think all they did is convince people he was a liar, and that's true, he is, but that doesn't make him a murderer. So you needed to come with something harder than that, or don't bring the case. You can always not bring the case. And then you never know what happened down the line. Something happened, he get caught up, and then now you able to prove a little bit more. This has happened with other guys that's been convicted of murder or at least charged. Now, and speaking of that, when you look at the doctor, okay, compare Samantha Wool's situation to the doctor in Detroit that was murdered. The surgeon, the neurosurgeon, I believe, they took a long time to prosecute and to bring charges in this case, and it seems like they did a darn good job. I wish they would have did it sooner because other people got killed because they didn't bring it quick enough. But in that case, you don't feel it was rushed. So nobody's questioning nothing. And then the timing is just, you got the Hamas war. You got all these other things happening. And I just felt the prosecutor did not look at all these things. They did not look at, all the different circumstances surrounding, just the optics. And, people were saying, and I get it. Like, I'm sympathetic for a brother too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm straight from the hood. I know what it's like. But in this case, he lost me once I knew he touched her. Like, once you got blood on you, bro, like, I'm from the street. Look, man, ain't nothing worse to being committed of a worse crime you ain't did. And it's only one way to get out of that. You got to come clean up front before you do anything, man. You got to be on that phone. Hey, I found a lady here. Something happened to her. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Something happened. I wasn't the one who did it. Maybe he didn't want to deal with that. But look what he dealing with now. Essentially because of how he handled that. And I just think it's just Hashem, man. It's God. You feel me? It's all God in this case. You know what I'm saying? Justice got to be served, man. He took that woman's life, I believe. That's my personal opinion. He did. I think he did it. I think he's just slick, so he knows how to get through a lot. I think he's blessed to even get out of it. Was mercy on him because he got out. He beat the charge. So, but in this case, it was so unfortunate. I wish she would have been able to protect herself. protect her home. I wish we would have protected her. I wish we would have protected the community. I wish people like this didn't exist. These type of people do a lot of petty. They're just certain type of criminals, man. And I just thieves, man, and thieves that can turn violent and kill. That is very possible. I thought it was for a while, but when you look at all the other circumstances, who he is, his background, what he was doing, what he's admitted to, touching her, he wasn't touching her for the pulse, man. Don't believe that lie. That man was doing some other stuff. He was guilty of what he did. I think he cleaned it up pretty good, and he played it off really well. He cried though today in court, seeing the tears. You know what I'm saying? Because now he got to do 2 to 15. But you know what you did ultimately. So shout out to the judge. Prayers for the Samantha Woll family. Prayers for even Michael Jackson, Blasio. Shout out to his family and prayers too. Nobody wins in circumstances like this. It wasn't worth it, bro. You didn't turn to breaking and entering, possibly, breaking into cars to a murder, bro. Like that's you escalated that on yourself, and then he beat the charge. But God has a way of dealing with people like that. God knows people's heart. That this dude shouldn't be on the street, and he would probably do worse. So just want to give you that because he was sentenced today. Again, in the Samantha Woll case, the Michael Jackson, Bellagio, whatever case, he was sentenced today, and I just want to bring that to you. And again, if you don't like the sentencing guidelines, you felt it wasn't right that he got the time he got, then why don't y'all be more active and let's get these mandatory minimums and these sentencing guidelines changed. This passed law to make things more equitable and more fair. I'm all for that. You know what I mean? But in this case, I think justice was served. It wasn't served enough, but some justice was. He's got to do 2 to 15, and then it's probably going to be a whole lot more probation. He got a long road ahead of him. So, not calling the police saying, "Hey, man, I found this lady. I don't know what happened to her." That's a serious thing when you're talking about murder, man. And white woman, Jewish woman. I don't think the Jewish part matters so much. Is she? In my opinion, he didn't know she was Jewish. I think, he just seen a woman laying out. You call somebody, bro, black, white, Jewish, whatever. You gotta say something on something like that. You don't just sit back because then you make yourself look guilty. And then how from checking her pulse, it's just that don't even make sense, man. He tried to cover up what he did. He played it off well. He knows how to do it. Dude steal cars. He's a professional. He's what you call a real professional. All right. So just wanted to give you my thoughts. Samantha Woll trial case sentencing. Keep you posted on any more updates.